Hello everyone, my name is Craig Adler. I'm a retired certified financial planner. I'm also sometimes known as the Angry Financial Planner. At the end of 2024, I made a video comparing the Schwab Dividend Equity Fund to the Vanguard Dividend Appreciation Fund. And in that video, I concluded that I would be comfortable owning both of these investments. However, if I had to choose between one, I would select the Vanguard Dividend Appreciation Fund. And the reason why is that fund is far more broad-based and highly diversified and therefore lower risk. That fund is also tax efficient. If you are considering possibly making an investment in either of these two funds, I would strongly encourage you to watch that video, which is linked in the description below. Now, about a month ago, I made an unrelated video. And in that video, I talked about when it comes to retirement income planning, dividends are not the critical consideration. What really matters, and it matters by far more importantly than dividends themselves, is the total return of the investment that you select to help you reach your goals. I don't get a ton of comments or a ton of negative feedback on most of my videos, but that one definitely had a fair amount of people that really didn't accept that concept. They didn't believe that total return was the critical driver of how successful your retirement income plan is going to be. They were very focused on the dividend component. So in today's video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to essentially combine these two videos into one to allow you to see what would have happened if you would have followed that suggestion to buy the Vanguard Dividend Appreciation Fund at the start of 2025 versus the Schwab Fund. But more importantly, to allow you to see that total return really is the critical driver for you to build a successful retirement income plan when you decide to leave the workforce. This video has a lot of numbers, so let's go ahead and keep these numbers in front of us during this part of the discussion. When we look at the Schwab Dividend Equity Fund in 2025, if we were to put $100,000 into that fund, the Schwab Dividend Equity Fund had a yield of 3.6% to start 2025. That means my $100,000 investment would have produced $3,600 of income. But we also know that in 2025, that fund had a total return of 4.5%. That means that an additional 0.9% would have been created by growth. That would add $900, so that at the end of the year, my account value would have been worth $104,500. Now, at the end of the year, I realize I need that income. So I withdraw that $3,600 and spend that money. That leaves me with $100,900 in my account. That would be the result of investing $100,000 into the Schwab Dividend Equity Fund and spending the income. Now we're going to do the same thing with the Vanguard Dividend Appreciation Fund. We're going to add $100,000 to that fund at the start of 2025. That fund at the start of 25 had a yield of 1.6%, less than half the yield of the Schwab Fund. That 1.6% on a $100,000 investment would produce $1,600 of income. Now, the total return on the Vanguard Fund was 14.2% in 2025. That means the Vanguard Fund would have generated an extra $12,600 through growth. That would bring my total account value at the end of 2025 to $114,200. But like the Schwab fund, I'm going to remove my income. I'm going to take out $1,600. That will leave me with $112,600. But it turns out I really needed the full $3,600. So what I now need to do is I need to sell $2,000 of my Vanguard fund. So if I've essentially generated the exact same level of income in both scenarios, but with the Vanguard fund, it did take a sale of the shares themselves. But when I do that, the final value of my account after withdrawing the $3,600 is $110,600, $9,700 more than the Schwab Dividend Equity Fund. Why did that happen? It happened because the total return is the critical driver, and the total return of the Vanguard fund was significantly higher. Here is the takeaway I'm trying to make for everyone. There is nothing wrong with transitioning from growth investments to income investments. If you tell me that you are doing that because that aligns well with your goals, your risk tolerance, and your time horizon, that is the correct decision to make. But if you tell me you are selling your growth investments and moving them into income-producing equity investments because you believe that is going to improve your overall retirement income plan, that is only going to happen if the new investments have a higher total return than the investments that they are replacing. I cannot tell you how many times people come to me and they tell me they are going to exchange their investments into an income-focused approach. But when I ask them, do they believe that's going to improve their overall total return? Most of the time the answer is either no, or they are not sure 100% what exactly I am asking them. Hopefully this video gave you a better understanding of why the total return approach really is the critical driver of your overall total cash flow and retirement income. I hope you found this video beneficial. New subscribers are always great, but my primary goal is to help individual investors improve their financial literacy. And remember, when it comes to our money, it is always better to be educated than angry.